As I'm starting my camera journey, I'm realizing that, just like the Bible, there are a ton of terms and concepts that I need to learn. Some have some pretty relevant spiritual applications too. So let's talk technical. Focus is a term that's used so much in daily life that you don't really need a fancy definition for it. Basically, it's how clear or sharp is the thing that you're trying to emphasize in a shot, right? And even though it doesn't have a fancy definition and it seems simple, what I'm learning is when you try and work with focus, it's actually quite a complex thing, and there's a lot of other terms and a lot of other complications when it comes to focus, right? Your lens. I'm just trying out a different lens for this video. And I'm noticing that it has a different depth of field, right? The depth of field is kind of the closest and farthest things that are going to be kind of acceptably sharp in your shot, right? That plays a role in focus. I'm also learning about bokeh or bokeh. I don't know how to pronounce it because it seems like everyone pronounces it differently. But basically it's that kind of, that blurry, dreamy background that's in the back of portraits, portrait mode, right? For your iPhone. And so that's kind of based on focus. What is in focus and what kind of fades away. And so, when you think about focus, it's this idea of you can kind of play around with it, right? And whether something is in the foreground and it's defocused or something is sharper, the really big and important thing is, are you focusing on what should be focused on? Right? If that's supposed to be blurry, is it blurry? Is what's supposed to be sharp, sharp? And if you do it right, they make some visually stunning photographs and videos. And if you do it wrong, a lot of times when it's out of focus, it's kind of messy and even unappealing to look at. Now, when you saw the title, you probably already knew where the spiritual application was going with this, but it's still important, as cliche as it sounds, to make sure that we are focusing on the right thing, right? In a shot, if you have the right thing in focus, it's sharp, it's beautiful, everything else just kind of fades away, right? And if you don't, it can be confusing as, where am I going? What am I supposed to look at? What is the emphasis in this shot? And in our spiritual lives, it's the same thing. When we're focused on Jesus, right? And when he's kind of clear in that picture, all of a sudden everything else just kind of starts to fade away and he becomes the focal point kind of our vision, of our photo. But what happens is when we start looking at everything else and our focus is off, all of a sudden everything is blurry. Right? And so it's really important in our lives, especially as Christians, that we make sure that we actually put Jesus front and center and make sure that he is the focal point of our shot. And when we do that, the important things become clear to us. Now, another term that I learned is that someone pulls focus in like a video shoot, and that's basically just someone that's in charge of making sure that the kind of the focal length and everything is working well. So naturally, the application for that is, when we allow Jesus to pull focus for us, when we allow him to choose what needs to be the emphasis of our day, what needs to be the emphasis of our life, and what else is just kind of background. When we allow him to do that, our scene will be beautiful.